Okay, right now we're going to talk about the influence of the Strand on the sports program in Waterford, and I think Karl, as you know, the Strand was synonymous with baseball, basketball, and hockey. I think the flagship program out of there might have been the basketball, and I think in 1946-47 they won the Canadian Intermediate Championship. But they also won a lot of clubs before that, didn't they?
Yes.
Before that, didn't they?
Yes. They won. Well, like I said, they had the house league with the bantams, midget, juvenile, junior, and intermediate, and then in each one of those divisions.
The house league there. Karl.
Yeah. In each one of those divisions, there was championships in those, like, you know, and if it came east one year, then say the Strands, if they're going to play the Strands, then they'd have to look after them, you see, and then when they left to go the other way, the same thing happened. So they got, and they were all, not only Mount Carmel players, but they came from all over town, St. Agnes and so on, because see, the only gym at that time was Mount Carmel, and then St. Agnes got them. They were the only two, and then later, the in 50s, Mount Carmel, that's school there, that's going to be decimated there. Yeah. That came along with Central School.
The Strand was...
Yeah, but the Strand, out of that, see, because the Strand was taken over in the 30s, it was the King's Theatre in Glace, Spain, and Mount Carmel bought that primarily for bingos, okay? And then when they found out they had the floor, they used it for basketball, and then the baseball used to dress there and walk up to the, you know, and then the hockey used to, same thing, congregate there before they went playing in the senior league there, and that was and then you also had, because it belonged to Mount Carmel, the Carmel CYO, they put on weddings and so on, so it became, and then the dances, of course, and Friday night became the general focus for not only the sports, but other activities in the town.
Fans that won the 46-47
yeah.
title, they would have won several Cape Breton
titles
in their titles. And these are a list of the players.
That's right.
You want to go through them, Karl?
Yes, well...
This is the championship team, 46-47.
That's right.
What did they beat?
They beat the Ottawa Grads, okay? And it was down in Waterford, and they won the first game by 15 points, and they won the second game by 1 point. And that's how they won the championship. But it said too also that all these players that worked in the mines, they went out in day shift and worked before they played that night too.
Imagine.
That was
load and call, and
that's right.
Basketball.
That's right. Yeah. Well, even during the summer, like these guys, anybody that worked, you know, brushing or load and call or anything on day shift, then they came home and they played baseball or softball or something, you know, because you had a great DOSCO softball leagues too, besides that.
Imagine.
Yeah,
load and call, then
that's
right. Basketball.
That's right. Yeah. Well,
so their strength training came from their work.
Well,
who were some of those players there, Karl?
These guys were Bucky Gillis. And as I said, like we used to get Jack McKenzie was the looked after the Strand, and he did the refereeing, he did coaching and everything. So we used, after the Friday night dances, we used on Saturday morning, he used to give us the keys, because we lived on 10th Street. It was a combination of us used to go over there, and we clean her up, and then the Strands would come in the afternoon, and we'd watch them play. And I know every one of them and what they did. The Bucky Gillis here was a smaller guy. First guy sides throwing at half a hook shot. Okay, Lucius Ryan. Okay, he was under the basket. Lucius do twirler left and twirler right. You see. Laddie Mahosky was a guard, and they had all two-handed shooting at that time, and he was a two-handed shooter. Okay, Duffy, Marshall DeVoe, he was the star of the series, one of the stars, because in the Strand you had the walkway around the top, and you couldn't shoot only out in the middle without shooting high. If you did, you'd hit the walkway.
Sort of like a running track around the top.
That's right.
Yeah, no shots from the corner then.
No, well he used to take them, but he developed like Donnie McCauley did off the backboard.
Okay.
He'd come running on the tear and he put it off the black, but he did it with two hands.
Yeah, okay.
And then of course, Freddie Connors was the captain, and Freddie's, he always had a white handkerchief on his shorts, okay? And Freddie was the quarterback, and he did the setting up and dribbling and everything. And same thing, he'd be coming up and shot two hands all the time on his fly.
There's a nice drawing.
That's right. That's done by Jack Silber.
Yeah.
Now Jack Silber was great in the 40s. He's from Sydney, one of the greatest sports cartoonists there anywhere.
Really?
That's right, and then he left, and in 1949, Stan Roach from King Street, he was still in only high school, he took over and he started drawing. That's how I got started on the drawings.
And that's Neil Kennedy?
That's right, that's Neil Kennedy, and he was one of the stars with them there, a big guy, okay?
Yeah, okay.
And you had Jiggy Mahosky. Well, Jiggy's in the back, and Jiggy was the forward there, big strong guy. Neil is there, and he was one of the guys. They had Neil, and you got Gussie McNeil, and you got Richie McDonald now. And Richie McDonald came in from St. Agnes, and like he played in that team. He was one of the really tough backboard men in that, along with Gussie, because after every basket they used to go back and jump out, okay?
Yeah, so you needed a big guy to jump, right?
Well, that's right.
Control the tap.
You could get
your possession all the
That's
time.
right.
Your possession all the time.
That's right. You
So
see, they did the rebound. And Martin Ferguson is here. He was the police chief, but he was a guard. He was a great guy too. He's big and strong. The guys, him and Laddie Mahosky, they were big. And now a guy like Foot the Pastorini's not in this picture, okay? But he was another fella. Great hockey player, but he also played in the basketball.
So Gussie McNeil would be Russell's brother?
Oh yeah, and that's young Karl's father.
Okay,
No, I mean, yeah.
Yeah, it was Gussie's Karl's father. Yeah.
Yeah.
Was Russell? Did Russell play on that team?
No, not this team. He played. This is 50. I don't know if it was the year before or after, because he was only 17 when he played.
Yeah.
Then he went to St. Avex.
Okay, right.
Yeah.
And here's some other pictures, Karl. Here's some of the pictures that of headshots of.
Yeah, these are the guys. See, as they say here, these are the guys that were really actually, you know, the get up and go guys. You know, like Marshall. They said, you know, he just said he doubled in hockey and played baseball and some. Bucky McGillis, we talked about him, and Laddie Mahosky and Richie McDonald. You see, he was a standout, okay, checker for the Strand on the
defensive end.
Yeah, because he was not only tall, but he was agile and mobile. Okay, and then of course Lucius, he was around the basket, and then Neil Kennedy, same thing. So they had it all. They had
plus Freddie Connors, right?
Yeah, well, Freddie's he's there. He's Freddie. There's no doubt about.
So here's some of
Freddie. There's no doubt about.
So here's some of the pictures. They won several maritime championships before that.
Yes, they played. Yeah. They won. Like I said, this is 42 where they won, and then they'd go. They played Toronto, Lyndhurst there, and so on. They'd go up and play Toronto, and they might lose. They played, like I said, they were up there 5 or 6 times. They'd play up there and play down here. Eh? Yeah. They played Toronto down here and lost. Okay, so the one year that they won, like 47, is when they played the Grads. But they had mostly Waterford players, but a couple occasionally, like in this one here, they had a couple from Glace Bay. Okay, because when they used to win that, they could pick up a couple of players if they needed them. Okay. To go on to the Maritime, because after they won the Cape Breton, see, was Glace Bay was their opponents, the biggest ones. They had good teams, and if they beat Glace Bay, then they used to go play for the Maritime, because Halifax didn't have anything going at that time. Okay, and then if they won the Maritime, then they went straight to the Canadian Championships.
And so certain years they would go
away,
and then other years they would come down this way.
After they won the championship the next year, now if they won, they'd have to go away. Yeah. They'd have to go on the road and beat New Brunswick and then keep going.
Okay, so they won that championship at the Strand.
Yeah.
And it was 2-game total point, wasn't it? So we just finished discussing the 1946-47 Strands and several teams that came before them. But you had a major part in forming of what we would call the modern Strands. I think you came out of St. Avex, and want to tell me a little bit about that?
Well, in '58 we graduated. Mike Roberts and I came out, and then Russell McNeil was phys ed instructor in the town, and even Russell and Marshall had played the year before with Sydney in that senior stuff. So we came out, and through myself and Mike and Russell and Smoody Burns came back from the services. Well, Mellow Nearing came back, and we had Al Dwyer and Bozo. I think Bozo's in that. So we started the Strands. We started the second Strands there, and we won the Nova Scotia championship in the first one, lost to New Brunswick in the championship, but. But then from then on we went and we played different years, and
You had quite a run, like
yeah.
how many championships did that,
Here it is,
that
sir.
modern Strands win?
well, maritime championships we won 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's including the intermediate championship we won, and that's including the last one we won.
73.
That's right.
Yeah.
And then we won 9 Nova Scotia championships. That goes from that would be 58 to 72.
9 Nova Scotia and 7 Nova, is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
That's amazing, eh?
Oh
Amazing.
God! Yeah. And we had no sponsors.
Yeah.
And
This looks like a picture of your first,
that's
first
right.
maritime,
This
1960.
is 1960, the first maritime. You see, we got Cedars Bozo, and then Claire was with us, Al Dwyer was, and Spikey, and Smoody, and Russell, and Mike, and myself. But the key guy in that was Lex McDonald.
Okay.
Lex came away. His father was a great pool player. Lex.
Oh yeah.
And he came from home.
Yeah.
And in I remember in the Nova Scotia Championship in Halifax, he was 3 of us made 6 foul shots in a row. Okay.
Okay.
And he was instrumental in helping us win that. And then we went from there over to PEI and played for the Maritime Championship. And who was refereeing over there? But Eddie Hilton.
Oh, you're St. FX buddy.
Well, we graduated together, and we played at St. FX. See, Eddie went over there and started that whole business, coaching the basketball and the football and the whole business,
Yeah.
So he refereed that series, but Lex was then he only stayed for a couple of years, and then he went back over.
So that modern era Strands with 9
that goes from 58, 59.
9 Nova Scotia, 7
72.
maritime championships. And in the 1970s, some
Yeah.
people say that maybe the best weekend of basketball at the senior level
That's
would be
right.
played here.
Well, see, every year, Lowell, when we were playing, see, anybody that had from the town that was away, like at university or something, that happened to come back, we used to pick them up, but we never had, it wasn't until that year, you and Philip Lishier and George Hughes, okay, we were able to get younger guys, okay, I was coaching that year, and Russell was still there, and Mike, you see, and so
Johnny McCauley.
yeah, well, see, Donnie was
Yeah.
one of the younger
Yeah,
guys.
yeah.
So that we had a good blend. We had everything that year. You see.
Simon Chesson.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Simon played at Acadian,
Yeah.
and Donnie played 1 year at Mount A, and so we had a good blend of defense and speed and shooting and you know that was the first year really we had it.
Yeah. I remember that year we ended up we had to beat Antigonish.
Yeah.
And we had to go to Halifax
That's
and beat
right.
Halifax.
That's right.
And then this Easter Sunday, 1970 was the big series.
Yeah.
Then again, the same old series, 2-game total point,
That's
right?
right. That's right.
And Dave Nuckbrown,
Yep.
quite a player, right?
Oh, dynamite! Yeah. Well, he was maritime in the collegiate scoring championship 2 years in a row there before he hit us, you know. And
He was drafted in the NBA.
That's right.
And he was hired to teach school at Petitcodiac. And I
That's
remember
right.
Karl.
Well, see, that principal took not only him, there was 4 or 5 of them that day.
Yeah, they had Ward White who played at Acadia.
Yeah.
And I think they had a Cox guy that played on the national team.
Yeah.
And they had a couple other guys that I
Yeah.
played against in university.
Yeah.
And but I remember the first game. We won that we lost that by 1 point, but
Yeah.
Nuckbrown had 42 points.
That's right. That's right.
And I remember he got hit pretty hard there one time, and
Yeah.
I can remember he went down on the floor, and he wiped the blood from
Yeah.
his
Oh,
face, and he got up and hit 2 foul shots. And
That's right.
I was only 19 at the time, and I was.
Stuff in there.
Yeah, unbelievable. But I think he corrected that. He had 42 points that game. I think he did some kind of a special.
21 seconds.
Yeah, 21 the second game.
That's what I did was.
Yeah, what did you do?
Well, I told George and Philip.
Mhm.
There was another guy there. I said, you never took mind that other guy there. You're going to guard him. The 2 of you are going to guard him. And Russell's. And if he doesn't, Russell's going to pick him up in the back. I said, if he gets 20 points, I said we can win, but we can't allow him to score 40. Okay, and he got 21.
And the rest of us sort of sloughed
That's
out,
right.
right?
And that's right.
Yeah.
And you guys came
Just
through.
guard everybody else.
That's
Yeah,
right. And then
yeah.
you came through with your.
Yeah.
And that's how we won it.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
But he really was tough because he took a beating.
Yeah, so here are some of the players
Yeah.
on that team, Karl.
Oh God, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, see, you had Simon there. You said, and yourself, and Donnie from the other one, and Philip, and Russell from the older fellas, and Hughes was the younger guys with you, and Freddie Connors was a younger guy, and Mike was one of the older guys, and Johnny Gillis and back playing, and Spikey of course, and then Pasher and Mackenzie. But see the core, see you had yourself and Simon and Macaulay and Russell and Philip and Mike and Spikey. George, I mean George there. That was the main guys, because see that was the first year we had guys coming back with that had experience in that.
We needed every gun on hand, because that was quite a team that we beat.
Oh, what was it?
The New Brunswick team.
Well, like I said, those guys were recruited by the principal there, you know, to go teach there, right? Yeah, and to beat, well, just not Brown alone. I mean,
He was unbelievable. And for anybody that doesn't know, Nutt Brown became probably... He was drafted in the NBA.
That's right.
And he was hired to teach school at Petitcodiac. And I remember Karl...
well, see, that principal took not only him, there was 4 or 5 of them that did.
Yeah, they had Ward White, who played at Acadia.
Yeah.
And I think they had a Cox guy that played on the national team. Yeah. And they had a couple other guys that I played against in university. Yeah. And anybody that doesn't know, Nutt Brown became probably one of the greatest coaches in the Atlantic University history after that. He started at UPEI and ended up being a legend at Acadia.
That's right.
Won many AUS titles. Going back to that 1970 series, like a lot of people said, it was probably the best basketball weekend in this town. And the scenario was that it was 2-game total point, and Nutt Brown scored 42 points in the first game, but they only beat us by 1, right?
Yeah, that's right.
And the second game, you made the adjustment from a defensive perspective, and we held them to 21. Imagine holding them to 21. And we won, but Donnie Macaulay came up big around the end, didn't he?
Well, the first game, well, he hit a jump shot there.
Yeah, and then the time expired.
That's right, he scored
and he had to make a foul shot.
That's right.
He made a foul shot. Right. And then I think we blew them out in overtime.
Oh, that's right. Well, I think you had 6 or 8 points there in overtime there. That was a big thing there. We managed to beat them in the overtime, but that was, that was something else. What I showed you though, I mean, that team, and basketball, and our fellas, all you guys, that was, because I know, remember Martin McPherson was talking to me, and Martin said that it was greatest basketball he saw in the town.
Yeah, Martin would have seen, he would have a great basketball player himself and everything.
He played in the Strands, Plus he was on the original Cold Bowl too. Then.
Yeah, he's a tremendous man. I mean, he was one of the founding members of Cold Bowl. Had a lot to do with us. So, Karl, as we said before, the Strands was a name used for a multitude of sports teams in New Waterford. And I want to refer now to the hockey. They had quite a collection of hockey players, especially for guys who played on outdoor rinks, right?
That's right,
Yeah.
That's right, Well, even this, like your father and Billy and you had Leo Fay and you had Charlie Pyle, and you had Foot to Passerini, and you had the Campbells, and you had Chestnut, because you had the Pushies was the one, not the only rink. You had New Victoria had a rink, and Scotchtown had a rink, and the Hawks had that wonderful rink too, because the Hawks and Pushies were right
close to each other.
That's right, And then, like I said, I got stuff in Waterford. Hawks won 2 years in a row, 43, I think 44 and 45. They won the Cape Breton Intermediate Hockey. I got pictures of their hockey championship with playing on the Hawks rink. And then this team here, they played their home games in the Sydney Forum.
There's a picture of Pushies rink, eh?
That's where they used to practice.
Yeah.
Okay, and see, they had an inner fence for that, and then they had for cleaned it off, and then you had the big one all the way around. Okay, But look at the sheet ice. They used to flood that with a garden hose.
Yeah, imagine.
And they had the steel scrapers, to keep it level.
Right. Well, I guess the culmination of the hockey, Karl, would be the 1945-46 Strands team that won the Cape Breton Championship.
That's right.
They defeated the Sydney Millionaires
That's right.
in a 3-game series.
Yeah.
All games played at Sydney Forum.
That's right.
About 4,000 spectators at each. And from what I understand, New Waterford lost the first game 5-4 in overtime,
Yeah.
won the second game 2-1,
Yeah.
and then won the third game 5-4 in overtime.
And
they played, and these are some of the players.
That's the line that scored that. And this team, see, that's the kid line. They played junior all year.
Yeah, that was
and they were
Fay,
back,
Leo Fay, Mel Gadd,
and
Dougie
Petrie.
Petrie.
They were back and forth.
Yeah.
And they scored the winning goal. I think it was
23 minutes of overtime.
Yeah.
The longest game in Canadian amateur hockey history.
Right.
So the famed Sydney Millionaires were beaten by a group from New Waterford who played on an outdoor rink.
That's right.
I took this from the New Waterford Sports Hall of Fame.
Okay.
This is a plaque that
Beautiful.
honors that team.
Yeah.
But in that is the
Oh.
puck. The
Is
puck
that the
that
puck?
was the
Where'd you get that?
that was the puck that was donated
Okay.
by Abe Libbis' son Nipper.
No, what is it?
Abe Libbis was in goals
What do you got that picture?
in the
of?
nets
Yeah.
for Sydney that night,
Yeah.
and he must have known it was a special occasion
Yeah.
because it probably only used one puck, right?
Oh, that's
Yeah, he saved that puck,
Yeah.
and that got turned over to the Waterford Sports Hall of Fame by his son Nipper Libbis, last year. So it's quite a thing.
Oh, yeah.
And that kid line was like they all played hockey with New Glasgow after that.
Oh, afterwards,
the ABC, eh?
Well,
Yeah.
Leo Fay went up to New Glasgow after, and he settled in there. Afterward, he played baseball. Which I found out after that.
Yeah.
With Ken Fuller, he landed in, and when I was going to St. FX University in 57, 58, he was the playing coach in the New Glasgow Bombers.
Yeah, yeah.
And he was older than. Fantastic athlete.
And Mel Gadd played too.
Mel Gadd went up and played with Stellarton, okay?
Yeah, yeah.
Stayed,
Yeah.
became a barber,
Yeah.
okay? And he played baseball in the summer with
Yeah.
with Stellarton, okay?
Yeah.
And then Frankie Prosner's not there, but Frankie also, Dougie Petrie got killed in,
Yeah.
in 50.
Yeah.
That's the year I was the mascot in 50.
Yeah, he killed in a car accident. Eh?
That's right. Going that turn there, going to Sydney there, yeah. But there's the picture of Sydney there. That Libbis was in
Okay,
there,
so Abe Libbis would be there.
Yeah,
he was their
that's right.
goaltender.
That's right.
And here's the picture of Alex Passerini
That's right, that's
accepting the trophy.
Because Alex, he was the,
And Larry Dobronsky was the coach.
Yeah.
So Karl, you and Russell McNeil go way back, right?
Well, we both come from 10th Street. He lived across the road, and his brother Gussie was playing with the Strands that won the Canadian Championship. And Russell, in town, he played baseball, and he played rugby, and he played basketball. In fact, like I said, he was 17 when he played first with the Strands, and then he was contacted. I think it was Father Keogh up at St. FX, and that's how he got to go to St. FX to play basketball.
And he played basketball then, and it was hard to be a basketball player then because a lot of the spots were taken by Americans.
Well, it was this way. You had half Cape Bretoners and half Americans.
Yeah, pretty good combination.
That's right. You had Rudy Pache and Russell and McNeil and Campbell. So you had, and then you had the Americans. I watched them play down in the Strand Gym. And the first time, Lowell, this guy comes in, Hank Proper came in from the States. He's playing with St. FX. He's shooting a jump shot. Nobody was shooting all shooting this way.
Shooting overhand?
He's jumping in the air. Jumping in the air.
Yeah.
And the rest of them, they're shooting this.
Yeah, the old flick style.
Blew my mind when I never saw
First
that.
guy you say take a one-handed jump shot.
That's right. Came from New York.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Karl, I think Russell got you interested in St. FX, didn't he?
Yes, because he lived across the road, and I used to be around the gym. In fact, I even went up to St. FX a couple of times to watch them play up there. Plus, they used to play against the Y seniors. They used to come down and play. And the first time I saw them when they came down, it was wonderful to see them with their white uniforms and everything. They came down playing against Sydney, eh? And then I went up. He used to take me up. I used to go up, and I watched them. I watched them play with St. FX. They played in in the old gym. That's the Bauer Theatre now. That's where I played too.
Yeah.
And it was condemned.
So, but Russell was gone when you got there, was he?
Yeah, when I got there, yeah, Russell had graduated. Yeah.
So Russell went on to play quite a few years with the Strands, like.
Oh well, see in '50 it was after Russell finished there. Then he went and got his education, and he even went to Springfield there and got for his education. Then he came back as phys ed instructor at Mount Carmel. And when I finished there in '59, '58, '59, and he was phys ed instructor, and then that's when we came and started the second bunches.
Yeah, like I remember, like he was like he might have been close to 40 when he was playing in 1970 when we won the Maritime title.
Not only that, Russell was playing guard, and Russell was he was the only one on that St. X team. Okay, he could shoot. He shot a one-hander, and he never grew up with that. He learned that when he was at St. X, because you had Father. What's the father? Not Keogh. Father. What's it? McKenna. Yeah. I used to watch the practices, Lowell. Yeah. Unbelievable. Yeah. Just precision, being go all the time. And that's where and when he played with us, Russell was back there. Like you said, he was older, and Russell could shoot the eyes out of her.
He was taking long range shots, which would be and no 3-pointers.
No, it was about 3-pointers.
No 3-pointers. So I remember Russell as the anchor of the defense.
That's right.
Getting all the rebounds and getting anything close around the garbage around the basket, and then the fast break. He's the guy that started the fast break.
And then when we got down in the corner, we played man to man. Most of we could play zone, but we fast broke, played man to man, moved the ball, McKaysey and Mike and ourselves, and we go, and then when we could stop back, just whip it back to Russell, and he was a good shot.
You had quite an array of of championships that you played on at St. X. Give me a little insight into how successful St. X was when you were playing there.
Well, see, I was only there 2 years, because see, after grade 12, I went to Xavier College, and then after that, I went to St. X as a junior, And my first year was '56, '57, and here comes in 6 Marines. They had been in this Korean War. Hilton was one of them, and Joe Sanborn. No, Packy was the head of it. He was with Russell.
Okay.
It was Joe Sanborn and Freeman Dulac and Hilton, and those guys. There was 6 of them, and they came in they were getting the full scholarships to play, and we played down in the smaller gym, and then on that team there that made it. Freddie Mills and myself and Johnny McKillop.
Yeah, it was quite an honor to be able to make that team.
Oh, we had 3 Cape Brittoners with them. Yeah. And Ellick McAdam from Glace Bay originally was the coach.
Okay.
And Ellick coached the soccer too. In fact, he coached Gregor and Johnny Gillis, and those are the 2 Maritime Intercollegiate Soccer Championships too. But he was a great guy. And like I said, we played, that's the kind of game we played. We played freelance, on the move, go, good man-to-man defense, switching, fast breaking, and you had to be in shape.
Well, you won quite a few titles there, didn't you?
Yeah, well, the 2 years I was there, we won 2 Maritime Championships. In that first year, see, there was no Canadian Intercollegiate Championship at that time, but you used to challenge for the Canadian Senior B Championships, because Senior A was the Olympics, okay?
Okay.
And Tillsonburg Oilers from Ontario, they used to win that a lot. In fact, when Richie Spears, they had a junior team. Richie Spears played 1 year junior for that Tillsonburg Oilers before he came back home. Okay? Yeah. So and it was the same thing. They came east and west. And that year in '57, my first year, they came this way, and we played them down. And they had built the new parish hall down in Antigonish.
Oh yes.
And it was bigger and everything.
Yeah, I remember that.
And it started out west, and then Ontario lost to Quebec, who lost to New Brunswick, and we played New Brunswick, and New Brunswick had quite a few St. X guys playing on the team too, and we beat them down 2 games down in the parish hall for the Canadian Championship. Yeah.
So the 2 years that you were there, you won 2 Maritime.
That's right.
And then you also won 2 Maritime Senior.
Oh yeah. So after that year, that year. Excuse me. After we won the intercollegiate, then we challenged for the Senior B. Then we had to play the Halifax team. What the heck was their name? We had to play them, and most of those guys were Teddy Wickwire, those fellas, and Bill Whitehouse, that they play for Dallas, okay?
Oh, yeah.
And so we beat them first, but in order to host it, when it was coming this way after New Brunswick won, we won a Nova Scotia championship, the senior championship. Then the next year, see, we were supposed to, then we were going that way, and we were supposed to go up and defend the title in Montreal, but it was coming around exam time, and we couldn't.
Boys had to hit the books, eh?
Well, because the guys we had were all pretty smart. I don't think we needed that hit the books.
But the powers to be.
Oh yeah, that's right. So we couldn't go play.
So
So St. FX was a power then. I think that only changed when one diminutive, Stu Aberdeen for Acadia came along, right?
Yeah.
And he got guys like Brian Heaney and
That's
Kachowski and Richie
That's right.
Spears.
That's
But
right.
up to that point, St. FX was the power in basketball.
Oh God, yeah.
So Karl, you spent most of your summers playing baseball.
Yes.
And so you grew up playing baseball in New Waterford, and I think you alluded to me earlier that you were really you were coached by a few of the imports in the 1950 Cape Breton Colliery League.
Yeah. Well, when I was mascot starting out there, I had Johnny Falwell from Boston was a great guy, and Kenny Ricks, and they were two good guys. Joe Nero was another guy, but Falwell and Rickson, and then later on came, like I said, my brother Billy, and those fellas came in there. But Falwell Foxes, that was a midget team. So it was different. We had a town league, and each one of the imports were coaching the team.
Yes.
And our team were called the Falwell Foxes after Johnny
So
Falwell.
those guys were paid to play ball.
Yes. Yeah.
And I think there was a 5-team league in Cape Breton.
Yeah.
And New Waterford, it was called the Dodgers.
Yeah.
I know my father talked about that quite a bit.
Yeah.
And I know you sent a group of us to basketball camp at Acadia in 1963.
Yeah.
And lo and behold, Kenny Rickson,
That's right.
well, the guy who was coaching you and playing shortstop
That's
here,
right.
was one of the coaches. So that was
That's
kind of
right.
interesting when I got
That's
to
right.
meet him there. But so your baseball career started then. Then you played junior and juvenile. You want to go through your
juvenile.
baseball career?
Yeah. I played juvenile, and we lost out in we won the Cape Breton Juvenile Championship, and Foxy Chesson coached that team, and we lost out in Halifax, and Bernie McKinnon was umpiring, and we lost out with a home run in the ninth inning, and Lovey Durando was pitching for us, and he was a great chucker, and we lost that, and we find out that 6 of the guys they had were too old for them, and we didn't get a chance to go play. They just awarded it to New Brunswick.
Imagine.
Yeah. And then after the juvenile, then we, I think 6, 7 of us, Butch Chesson, James E. Nemus, and Bozo, and Bingo Pasher, and we all went up to play junior. Brother Billy was coaching it, and then we had Ola Dingan, and Melvin Eldridge, and Bucky Walsack, and those fellas, and we had a good team. But we didn't have enough pitching. We had Butch and Jimmy was our first year, and we had Dingan and Dale, and Sydney snuck in 2 imports, you see.
Okay. Okay.
And they weren't supposed to, but there was a rhubarb about it and so on, and they beat us and went on and played for but the next year we won the Cape Breton Championship, and we lost out to Kempville, or Canning actually.
Oh, Eddie Gillis was coaching Canning?
Yeah, Eddie was coaching.
So 1959 was a big year for baseball.
Yes.
And you want to walk me through your Maritime Senior Championships there?
Well, that year, the same thing now. Everything came together, you see, because we always had good defensive teams and good offensive teams, and all, but we never had that much pitching, okay? So that year we had Spikey and Timmy Nearing, 2 great left-handers, and we had Stan Exall, and we had Dale Kearney. And what we had, and then Mike had played 2 years with the imports.
Mike Roberts, eh?
That's right.
Yeah.
He was signed with Milwaukee in his first year. He played up in McCook, Nebraska, and made the second All-Star team, and he was a dime. The next year he went to the sophomore year league in Texas, and he had hurt his ankle. We played out for the Maritime Basketball Championship in the spring. We had room together at St. FX, and and it wasn't. He played. He went to the sophomore league. He played, and he hurt it again. And the guy, imagine now, the coach loved him too, because Mike was a great ball player. And he's told him, the guy that came in and took his place was Dennis Menke.
First big bonus, baby.
100 grand he signed for.
Yeah, yeah.
Then and he played 10 years with he came in, and that's who he came home. Then he came home, and then with us, and he was healed up a little bit, and then we from there.
So who did you beat to win the Cape Breton Championship?
Sydney Mines Ramblers, but we played reserve first. We beat reserve, and then we beat Sydney, and then we played Sydney Mines. Yeah.
Yeah, so quite a journey to get out of here.
Oh God, no, yeah, it wasn't.
And
We had a league there, right?
Yeah,
And then you
yeah.
had to win the league, and then after beating them, then we had to play Stellar. We didn't have to, but we would have had to wait a couple of weeks. So Dinga said, so we played Stellar and Albions, and Leo Fay was coaching them.
yeah, and then
And we beat them,
Yeah.
and then we played.
And then,
we
so,
beat them,
yeah.
and then we played Canningham. So Eddie Gillis was coaching, and actually.
They have Carson Ellis and Jimmy Beckman and those guys.
That's right, yeah.
Good ball players.
Oh, that was good baseball.
Yeah, yeah.
And we beat them, and then we played Woodstock. Came down here. Like I said, the place was jammed. They
Well,
closed the schools.
was it 2 out of 3? Was that what it was? What kind of?
Yeah, that's what it
2 out
was.
of 3. Did you win 2 straight?
Yeah, we won 2 straight.
Because I remember
Canning, we lost 1 game. Yeah.
I was in grade, I don't know, 5 or 6, and they let all the schools out.
Yeah.
And did you guys win an extra inning game? Did Dale Carney pitch?
That's right. We won an extra inning.
Tell me, what did Dale Carney do?
He pitched no hitter for 9, but we had about 8 or 9. He made them hit the ball. Okay, Dale
Yeah.
was a great control
Yeah,
pitcher,
yeah.
and pitch all day. He's
Yeah,
strong as an
strong,
ox.
yeah.
Strong as an ox.
Yeah,
And like I said, we had a good defense.
yeah,
And in fact, before we went into the inning to win the championship, they had man on third base, okay, with 1 out, and a fly ball was hit out to Sonny Lever, and that guy tagged up, and Sonny Lever threw a strike to Hot Dog and nailed him at the plate.
unbelievable.
Unbelievable, big
Yeah,
league play,
yeah,
yeah. Because Sonny was originally a catcher, like him,
Yeah,
and he like Dingan said to him, you know, he's going to be our, he play any place, thanks,
Yeah.
Sonny.
utility man.
That's right. He
Yeah.
thought he died and went to heaven when playing out, and, you know, away from
Get away from the
catching. Yeah. But then we went in and won it
Yeah.
in the last.
Yeah, so we're probably the best baseball series in the modern day play.
Yeah,
hands down,
yeah.
for
Well,
sure,
like I said, yeah, it was because we had a good league then. Because the year before, Sydney Mines lost out in New Brunswick by
Yeah,
1 run, eh?
yeah, that's Leo Doyle and those guys.
That's right, yeah. And then I played junior all through. See, the other thing is we played 3 years of junior. See, like I said, we started in midget, and you played juvenile, and then you played junior. And by the time you hit senior, then, you know, you were well seasoned.
And you had pretty good
Yeah.
group of, the population's still pretty good around here. A
Right,
lot of guys that can play ball.
Glace
Right?
Bay and Glace Bay and Sydney Mines, a lot of good ball players, good athletes, yeah.
I can remember when I was about 9 or 10 years old, and my father would take me to the ball field to see you guys play. And he used to tell me, you got to watch this Roberts guy, keep your eye on this Roberts guy. And he said, this is the guy for you to watch. He said, there's a lot of good ball players up there, but this is the guy you could ever model yourself after this guy. So Mike, you had the privilege of playing with Mike. You grew, I guess you grew up together there.
That's right. I came in grade 9 from Lingan,
Uh-huh.
and they never saw basketball before. We got him started, he was natural, and
Yeah,
started with the basketball
yeah,
at Mount Carmel.
yeah.
And then of course, they lived up at Mount Carmel there, and they'd be out playing. They had the same as all the rest of us. They were Mount Carmel area with the Prendergast and those fellas, and
Playing
Dan
in the
Willie.
neighborhood.
Oh yeah, playing double scrub and that stuff.
So Mike was a pretty good basketball player, but he's also very good at track and field, wasn't
Yes, because we're not. So I tried to get him to come out to basketball at St. FX,
he?
and
Yeah,
he didn't come out, but he got records at St. FX for the track and field.
yeah, it's not hard for me to believe that because I watched him
Yeah.
on the ball field. He was a gazelle, right?
Oh,
Gazelle,
God, yeah. He- For the hop, step, and the jump, and the races, the short 100 yards.
Sprints and that, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah. So give me a little feedback on Mike as a ball player, Karl.
Well, as I said, we started playing, and he just was a natural, you know. See, he got because we were together 9, 10, 11, and 12. Xavier, right through college. And well, when he first came in, he was lean and he wasn't that tall. But by the time we hit grade 11, he was tall, but he was always lean. And what struck me with the baseball, especially playing on the rock fields that we played on, that he was fast, but he also had great coverage, both left and right, okay, and great arm in the hole or whatever it was, and then batting up, he was a natural, and he was something like Pete Rose. He was those line drive hitters, and that's the way he was, and that's the way he was when he played at McCook there, when he batted over 300. See, because
so tell me a little bit about that. He got. I remember Eddie Gillis telling me that they had a big tryout in Whitney Pierce Stadium.
That's right.
And I guess a lot of all the better ball players from the area were there.
That's
and
right.
And lo and behold, Spike McKinnon and Mike were signed.
Right.
So Mike got signed and he went nowhere. Where did he go to play?
He played in McCook, Nebraska, the first year.
Yeah.
And that's where he was assigned after after the spring training. And like I said, I think he batted something close to 310, 305 in that first year in McCook, and he made the second All-Star team. And then after that, when you played there, the rookies, then the second year you're signed to the sophomore league for Milwaukee, and that was down in Texas there, right? And that's where he played the second year. That's what I said. He hurt his ankle, but he was playing great ball, and the manager really liked him, and so that's when they signed Dennis Menke, and the manager wanted him to come back the next year, right? But he didn't. We went into the BED, got into the education.
Yeah, and he set his sights on being a teacher.
That's right.
But
Dennis Menke was the first. They say he's one of the first big bonus babies.
He signed for $100,000.
Yeah, that's back in 1958, right?
That's right. I mean,
yeah, it's amazing.
And he played for 10 years with them, and he after playing shortstop for a while, he moved over to third base,
Yeah.
But
so Mike came back, and so he was the maybe the missing piece to this '59 team, right?
Well, I was playing shortstop at the time, but I just moved out of there.
Yeah.
And I went to second base, and Mike took over at short. Spikey was at third, and Dan Willie was at first. And the big thing about it, though, Lowell, is as Bernie was coaching, with all the stuff that Mike taught us, me personally, working together about fielding, about throwing the ball, about pivoting and that stuff.
So he brought he brought the things that he was taught.
That's right.
In the minor leagues.
That's
back
right.
to you guys.
That's right.
So you guys are a little bit ahead of your time, maybe.
Oh, well,
yeah.
For example, first thing, when I was playing second base, we were playing second base, and you went into the hole, you were taught what to go into the hole, and you make a pivot back, you see, throw to second base. No, he said, you just make your pivot around this way, and you come around and throw it this way.
More natural.
Well, that's right, and you don't lose any time.
Yeah.
And then also, when you're the thing about making double plays, low is get to the base, and they used to have this time, you hit with your left foot, you do this. You got to get to the base, wherever the ball is thrown. If it's thrown this way, take with your left foot. Thrown that way, go with your right foot. And the thing about it, the big thing is throwing the ball. When you throwing the ball, you're in the base, and the ball is, he was taught, just bing, and
yeah.
True, we just
everything's time.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. And it was underhand throws, or underhand this way, or behind the back. It didn't make any difference. The big thing is to get it to the base.
Yeah.
And then he was coming towards first base, and that's if it was to the right, he just tipped with his left foot and gone. If it was to the right, it went over the bag and was gone. Yeah. But we practiced that stuff.
You guys had quite an infield. You had Bozo at third base,
right.
Mike at short, you at second, Dan Willie at first, and playing on a dirt skin diamond.
Right.
It was fast, and you guys could play deeper.
That's right, and that's right. Yeah. And I got to give Bernie McKinnon, a great coach, Bernie.
Yeah.
And he always, we practice, and many's the time with the bases would be loaded, one out, and he'd back us up to go for a double play.
Yeah.
You see, and rather than, and the other thing too is reserve had the fiddles. They had about 4 guys that all batted left-handed, but they hit towards over to the shortstop.
Okay.
So for all, I used to take the throws.
Yeah. there you go.
Ordinarily, I'd have to field the ball and Mike
Yeah.
would take the throw.
Right, yeah,
So we know all, we got to know all the players, and
Yeah.
then that's what we did, eh?
yeah, yeah.
You know.
So Mike was really rangy, he had good
Oh,
arm,
yeah, yeah.
good glove, but he could hit line drives,
Oh, that's what
hit
he
for a
was.
bit of power, but he could really run too, couldn't
Well,
he?
he was a faster, and that's the big thing. He had everything.
Yeah.
He could run like a deer,
Yeah,
and he
Yeah.
and see where he came from, and learn the pivots, okay, going left and right, okay,
Yes.
you know,
Yeah.
at first fielding the ball
Yeah,
and
yeah.
going into the hole. You see,
Yeah.
you see Tulowitzki there going into the hole there
Yeah.
and picking up. Well, he could do that stuff.
Yeah,
eh,
he was
you know.
this is a nice picture of Mike
Yeah.
in a nice article
That's
in one
right.
of the local papers.
That's right. That's John. You know, John he's doing great stuff. He does a number of articles.
John White.
Yeah,
Yeah.
see, that's where he is. He's down there in McCook, eh?
Yeah, yeah,
His first year.
yeah.
But
Made the second All-Star team.
that's right, batted over 300.
And here's a nice drawing that you did of.
Yeah, that's after we won the Maritime
Yeah,
Championship.
yeah.
I did a drawing of him. Yeah, he was. Not only that, Mike was a great guy, great human being. You know, not a braggart or anything like that stuff.
Very quiet,
Quiet.
very quiet. He'd
That's
never
what he
talk
was,
about
eh?
himself, right? Very
When I saw,
quiet, yeah.
when he came in from Lingayen, I saw this fella. You're coming by. Let's go shoot
Yeah.
some hoops.
Yeah,
eh?
yeah.
yeah, like,
Yeah.
and then although you were away that year, he
Yeah.
played on the Maritime Champion 1965
That's
Giants
right.
team.
I was.
They had, like you were saying earlier, they brought up how New Waterford, the history was to bring up some
Yeah.
younger guys with some older guys, and they brought up
Claudia
two
McKenzie
phenoms,
and Jackie
well,
Dean,
three
Jackie
phenoms,
Denner, yeah.
Jackie Demer, Claudia
Yeah.
McKenzie, and George Hughes,
Yeah,
right?
that's right. They
You
were
get
two-
three better young ball players than those guys.
Well, that's
So
what-
Mike did a little pitching a little more
Yeah.
then, eh? I think
Even
he started
with
to
us.
pitch a little more.
That's right. That's right. And even with us, he'd be good.
Yeah,
Like we had, like I said, we had Stan and
yeah, yeah,
Spikey and Timmy and
yeah.
and Dale, but see, he could go in and give you
Yeah.
2-3 innings,
Yeah,
eh, you know,
yeah,
because he's
Yeah,
earned it.
yeah, yeah. Like,
And plus he had the
Yeah.
experience.
like I think he would probably go down as one of the better
Ball players ever been in New Waterford, right?
Well, in my time,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
like I saw the imports, I
Yeah.
just caught the end of the imports. That's
yeah.
both in, that's in Sydney Mines, Glace Bay,
Yeah,
and so
yeah,
on.
yeah,
And I
yeah.
played in that. He's the best ball player
Yeah,
that
yeah.
I saw.
My father told me the same thing.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, Karl, I remember growing up and listening to my father talk and talk about all the old athletes that he played with, and pretty sure he told me that the best athlete that he played with would be a guy by the name of Charlie Pyle. I know Charlie was a versatile athlete, and I know that you grew up watching him play, so I'd
Yeah.
like your thoughts on Charlie Pyle.
Well, he was one of a kind. Okay, not only had a great disposition, he happy-go-lucky fellow, but he could run. Okay, he could throw. Okay, he could field in the baseball. You know, and he played like center field, like you know, and if you had the grass and that stuff, you see these fellas going making those catches, say, and he was great. And he could hit the ball if he was a right-handed hitter, and he played with all those imports that come in there, and he hit the ball for power too. You know.
But like, there's a guy that played on the 45-46 championship hockey team,
And the 45-46 Strands baseball team.
and he played in the H&D League.
That's right.
Halifax and District, and you had to be really good to play there. That was
yeah.
mostly imports, a lot of imports in there.
He played for Truro.
And then he was a boxer.
Yeah, he won the welterweight championship, and he was voted the all-around best athlete in the Canadian Army during the Second World War services.
Yeah, I think you have some drawings there and some pluckings on.
Yeah, well, this is a drawing here of this is that Silbert did that. I did the drawings myself, but I brought that one in because
This guy says that Charlie Pyle is a versatile New Waterford athlete who excels in more branches of sport than any other athlete in the Maritime provinces. And a PT instructor with the RCA overseas. Pyle played rugby, soccer, baseball, hockey, and won the welterweight boxing championship from Mike Farney and all.
That's right. Because see, when he finished with the Army, he got into the Army, came home, then he went back in. Okay, after being home.
And he set records in the 100,
Yes,
the 220,
that's right.
and the broad jump.
That's right.
And the services.
Well, I didn't take it here. I got it. Might be. There's a picture I got of him. He's in Wembley Stadium with 3 other guys, all decked out in the shorts and everything else from Toronto, and they won the 400. Okay, well, no, it was the 400 and the 800 relay. Won them in record time.
What did that have been in, the armed services?
Yeah, he was in the army then, yeah. And they were running in the meet there. In Wembley Stadium. Yeah, because see, like I said, and he never had any training in that track and field or any of that stuff. You know, he's just a natural in the sprints and even in those 400, 800. But the thing about it was that he was quick. He wasn't only fast, but he was quick. Like you said, and he could cover territory, he could run. And what I was amazed at, you know, nice batting right hand against a beautiful hitter, hitting for power too.
There probably wouldn't be a sport imaginable that he couldn't play.
Well, he played the rugby, the basketball, the baseball, the hockey, and he even played soccer in goal when he was in the army. He played soccer there, with them, you know, that stuff.
Certainly one of the best all-time athletes ever out of Connecticut Cabaret.
And he never got a chance to play in the rugby. He played the rugby. He was dynamite.
One of the guys that was influential in my life as an athlete was Marshall Duvall, affectionately called Duffy.
That's right.
And he was the guy that let me in the gym. When you guys would be practicing, I'd knock on the side door, and he'd open the door, and I'd have my sneakers under my boots. And when you guys would be finished,
same as I did with the old strength.
yeah, when you guys would be finished practicing, you go down for your showers.
That's right.
And he'd let me shoot around then, and I don't know what you guys were doing down there, but you took awful long showers. but I used to love it. But I know Duffy was a good friend of my father's, and I heard amazing stories about him as a baseball player and a basketball player and a hockey player. What are your thoughts on him as an athlete?
Not only that, and in the track and field too.
Oh yeah.
So he was he was a great athlete. He had it all. Okay, he had speed, and he had he could do it all. I mean, the thing about it, played baseball. He played second base. He was, and then he was a good hitter. He was, like you said, he was a line drive hitter, and in the basketball, he was fast as anything, and he had that running, shooting style. Because he was one of the stars in that championship when Strands won the Canadian
Pretty
Championship.
tenacious defender, was he?
Oh God, yeah, and like he was always in great shape, you know, condition. He looked after himself, and when he played, that's the way he was. He was tenacious, and in the hockey, he wasn't that big, but he was fast as greased lightning. Could skate, and like I said, that he was tough as nails, like, you know, for a small guy. He just had everything there.
Yeah, and he was one of the hockey players that was always picked up, right?
Oh
Place
yeah.
Bay picked him up,
That's
and he
right.
played with Pictou for a while, didn't he?
That's right.
Yeah.
See, and he played at the time when, you know, he had players like Tick Williams and the McGibbons, all these fellas. A lot of them played in the NHL. But see, at that time too, Lowell, there was no union, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if you were playing hockey and you had a great year, say Kirkland Lake or somewhere, you could go and play with Sydney Billiards. Next year, you had no manager. They offered you so much money to go, you go out and play it. See, that's the way it was, eh?
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure.
Depending upon what you did the previous year.
There's a nice picture of Marshall. I think it looks like he's in the army.
That's the army. That's one I did of them. See, that's the army because they played in the army. It's the same thing. The five guys. There's Eddie Gillis and himself and Joe Pyle. Joe Pyle was another great athlete, although
Charlie's brother.
Yeah. Okay, and there was I think 5 or 6 of them. They played the rugby, and then they played the baseball, and they played the hockey, and because they used, like I said, they congregated there in Halifax, yeah. And this one here, this is a great one by this Jack Silver, eh? And in fact, Marshall's got the original of that, okay?
Yeah.
I think Gay has it. But he's the same thing. Him and Leo Fay and your father, and they all played. And you know what they came from was, Pushy's rinks. When they came from the outdoor rinks, like you'd say, grew up on that and played with these guys, with the imports, baseball, and then hockey, and then basketball. It's unbelievable. That's what I couldn't to see how. And then go when they were working in the pit mostly every day.
And Marshall had quite a coaching career.
Yes, and okay, that's the other thing. He coached for over 10 years. Coached me when we had the Strands a bunch, and we won, like I said, 9 Nova Scotia championships and 7 Maritime.
So he's behind the bench for all them.
Oh, God,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
We had no sponsors
Yeah,
or anything like,
Yeah.
or anything like that.
Yeah.
Just go play, and we
Yeah, yeah.
traveled all over the Maritimes,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
dynamite fella. Yeah, great. Great.
I remember he coached when I was in high school in 65. We won the Nova Scotia championship, and John Gillis was the coach.
Yeah.
But we had 2 teams. The girls' team was a real good team too.
Yeah.
Judy Cody
Yeah.
and Cheryl Wilcox and those guys. But
Yeah.
John Gillis was coaching both teams.
Yeah.
So John had to go down to Shelburne with them, and Marshall took over from us, and we were getting waxed by Wolfville. A guy by the name of Peter Balcom was picking us apart.
Okay.
Marshall switched to a 2-3 zone. We
Yeah.
ended up winning the Nova Scotia title.
Yeah.
So it was like he
Yeah.
really knew what he was doing behind the bench. He had a good feel for the game, right?
Yeah.
Certainly one of our better all-time athletes
Oh,
in town.
All-time athletes
Oh,
in town.
he-
Yeah, right in that, yeah, for sure.
Carl, I'm about 4 years younger than this guy, and one of the guys I admired most as an athlete in this town was George Hughes. And George was a star in most anything.
That's right.
I would have
Right from high school, right?
compared him to maybe a Charlie Pyle
Soccer.
type. Could play whatever.
Soccer, baseball,
Whatever.
basketball,
Yeah.
and he played them all. And went to Dell, and you said played basketball again.
Yeah, I saw him play too, Carl. He was deadly.
Had the Strands, and then Red Bob was coaching Central there, and we used to play them the highest. He was in about grade 7,
Yes.
and they'd be playing in
Yeah.
Army Garden, and
Yeah.
I'd say, shoot the ball,
Yeah.
shoot the ball.
Yeah.
But he played everything. He won Nova Scotia Soccer Championship, Nova Scotia Basketball Championships. Okay, he never played the hockey. He played fastball. He was a great fastball in that Maritime fastball league. He was a leading hitter, and
Yeah,
so
like
on.
he,
Yeah.
like George. To me, like George was the leading scorer at Dalhousie
Yes,
in,
yeah,
in the AUS.
that's
He was
right.
the MVP of the team. He was the captain.
Yeah,
He was a key member of the 1965 Giants that won the Maritime
Yeah, that's
title,
right.
playing second base and
Yeah.
pitching.
that's right.
He was scouted by St. Louis when Eddie Gillis took him on the provincial team to the national tournament.
Yeah,
He was as good on the soccer field as he was on the baseball field,
yeah.
and well, I think what separated George was his toughness.
Oh, yeah, well, see, you gotta remember, his father was the resident looking after the horses.
Blacksmith.
Yeah, that's right. And his father was a great goaltender. He played in
Yeah,
hockey in the town leagues, eh?
Yeah.
And his father, like I said, we used to go up, and we used to get the nails off, never make the darts, the corks and everything else.
Oh yeah.
From
Okay.
those, oh yeah. And he could lift a horse, no problem.
See, George was always able, very
That's
able,
right.
strong,
Oh, and
determined, aggressive.
That's where he got
Like you,
it.
like you didn't want George Gardner
No.
if you were on the other team, right?
No.
And he had the same kind of fire and confidence when he was
Oh,
playing.
oh,
Bat,
God.
ball, and
Yeah, everything.
I think one of the most remarkable things about George is that he grew up playing baseball and not much softball or fastball.
No,
But he went up and played in that Halifax District League, and Lyle Carter had won that batting championship.
Yeah.
Lyle Carter played in the NHL as a goaltender, as
that's
you know.
right, that's right,
And George took the batting title away from him.
yeah.
Now there's a baseball player coming in the best
That's
softball league in the fastball, I guess,
Yeah,
fastball league in the
right,
Maritimes, and that's how good an athlete he was.
That's right, he was
Yeah,
terrific,
yeah.
tremendous athlete.
Yeah,
He
yeah.
would have been good at anything, boxing,
Yeah,
hockey, if you had
Yeah,
anything.
yeah,
And
yeah,
it's because
Yeah.
he was strong, and like
Yeah,
you said, he
yeah.
had tenacious,
Yeah.
he wanted to win,
yeah,
and he was tough, and
Yeah.
he mentally and physically.
yeah. Certainly one of the best athletes that ever produced in this town.
Oh, one of the
Yeah,
best.
for sure, yeah.
Yeah, one of the best. No